I was like, sorry, guys, show business is calling right now.
Right.
You know?
That's one of the, hey, I got to take this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was, my parents even know at this point, like, if I do this whole, like, urgent, like, leave the room, like, hey, I got to go. It's like, okay, someone's going to give them, $50 to tell dick jokes in the bar.
Yeah.
But no, speaking of, what was your first paid gig ever? Like,
first paid gig ever.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me the story of your first one, just in general, but I don't think it was a paid thing.
I didn't accept the pay for that one because it was my first ever show, and it was just an open mic night that my buddy was doing, and I told him just divvy my pay up to the actual comedians because I never thought I would actually turn this into a career.
Yeah.
I was just doing it to help a fraternity brother out.
Yeah, filling time.
But the first paid gig I ever had was a comedian in Youngstown. He's big on producing show. He's not that great of a comedian, and I hate to say it, but he's a better producer than he is a comedian.
Hmm.
And
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
and everyone says about me.
And he was like, hey man, I got a spot open and we've been doing this open mic together, but this one you're actually going to get paid for. I could throw you like $50 to come and fill 10 minutes. Little rinky dink bar in Youngstown, Ohio, and was the most terrifying place I've ever been to in Youngstown. Because for whatever reason,
Youngstown itself is
terrifying. Youngstown itself is a nightmare, but
The Wire meets Deliverance.
Yeah. And I showed up, and for whatever reason, this gig, I was like, you know what? I'm going to test the waters a little bit. I'm going to write a bunch of black jokes. And I get there, and there's nothing but white bikers in this bar. At first, I was like, oh, yes, my people here. And I can get away with this.
Right.
And I showed up I got there like an hour before the show, because at this point, I still had crippling stage fright. Like, I had to be almost tanked to even get on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sitting there, and I'm having a couple beers, and I started to look around, and I noticed, for lack of a better term, it's getting really dark in here really quick. All the bikers had left, and a lot of black people showed up. I was like, well, I don't have any other material to do, so we're going to roll the dice and see what happens.
Right.
So I did it. It went off. They laughed. They got it. They understood, like, okay, he's a comedian. Yeah, he's probably the whitest person we've ever seen, but and it worked. But yeah, it was a fun gig, but I haven't done those jokes yet since then, because it was that terrifying of an experience.
I say, actually, when I first started too, I got real cocky because I was out there just killing it at these open mics.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're taking this to Florida. Like I'll say our Australia is ready for these jokes. And so I do the open mic at the Side Splitters in Tampa. And I have this joke. It was about my ex, and I was like, because she was an ex stripper, and I was like, she's actually the third ex stripper I've dated, so I guess I have a type. And I was like, and they probably date me. I'm probably their type because I remind them of their dad that fucked them up so young. Yeah. And then again, this was the part of the joke that like actually all but 4 people, aka all the white people, didn't appreciate, which I said, I'm just kidding. Her dad wasn't in the picture. And I know you're probably thinking, Destin, that's a weird way of saying she was mixed.
Oh, wow.
And he was saying, yeah, none of the white people appreciated it. The 4 black people in the back fucking lost it. And then I'm like, well, and by the way, she's half white, half Native American. How dare you racist assholes assume that?
So she's basically full American, you know?
Exactly.
She's 100% from here.
Yes. But yeah, no, I actually, I can't even remember my first paid gig now that I'm talking about.
I'm honestly surprised I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that, but I do.
I mean, I can assure you it wasn't any more than $25-$30.
Yeah. But I mean, he threw me $50, which we had worked together a good bit in the past. For like 3 or 4 months we'd been working together. So he was like, hey man, I got a spot to fill. It's yours if you want it. And Yeah, I jumped on it because 11 years ago, still living with mom and dad, and no real expenses at that point in time.
Yeah.
It was $50 to me right now. That's hell yeah, that's a free night out. That's what that is.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now though, with the wife and a 14-year-old, $50 is like, that's not gonna even be gas for my truck to even make it there. So yeah, I've been a little bit more picky about pays depending on the drive and stuff like that too.
Yeah. I'll say in this economy, I'm running out of my people that I'll kind of do favor shows for, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm on one actually in a couple of weeks because again, it's, my boy, we go way back. But yeah, here this year, I'm having to remind people that yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yeah. I'm in sales. Trust me, I get that. Yeah, I have a day job at sales, and people are like, "Oh my god, you're gouging me." It's like, have you seen the price of gas? Like, yeah.
But hold on, heartburn. I'll edit this out.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even know you started.
Oh yeah. Actually, hold on. This might be a heart attack.
Was that? Are you serious?
There we go. Okay.
What the fuck, man?
Actually, okay. At that point, I as soon as I said it's a heartburn, I'm like, actually, wait, no, this might be. I'm starting to choke. And unfortunately, ever since my 27th birthday, that happens occasionally.
Your heartburn's just that bad that
it
just takes your breath away.
Well, no, because it's equal parts heartburn and acid reflux.
Yeah.
And the stomach acid it feels like it's creeping up, so I just have to constantly wash it down. But the first time I noticed it was my 27th birthday. This was during 2020 to literally date myself here. The story. I had been sober for a month and a half. I had been on a crazy 1,500 calorie a day diet. By that point I'd lost 25 pounds. And so it was going to be my big cheat meal for my birthday. So we go to a Mexican restaurant. I get this T-bone steak with shrimp, cheese on top. And then I get a bird bath of margarita with the little Coronas in it. And about halfway through, I eat a bite of the steak. And then once again, I have that same sensation that I've encountered my whole life up until that point, where it's just like, oh, I just need to, drink a little bit, swallow it down. And somehow I swallowed wrong. And then the food started literally
coming back up. Yeah.
And then, my parents, they're watching in horror across from me. And eventually I finally just suck it up and I just basically puke it out all over the table, all over my plate. And, they're watching horrified. I, on the other hand, I see this as, hey, I'm puking and rallying right now. So I go back and I keep eating. Because I've been having sexual dreams of this meal for the last couple of weeks. Sure. Again, when you're eating a Quest bar in the morning, you're eating a lean cuisine for lunch, and then you're eating grilled chicken and spinach or broccoli or grilled fish or whatever, eating like The Rock, basically. Yeah. I was like, yeah, no, death itself is not keeping me from eating
this cheat meal.
Yeah. And again, just letting people know how messed up I truly am. I went back 3 days later and I ate the same exact fucking meal.
There you go. Yeah, don't let it keep you down.
That's right. Yeah,
absolutely.
I had to take the power back.
Although I do get like that, but that's just because I'm such a maniac when I eat that I have one speed, and that's fucking hungry.
Right. And when you eat at that speed, you forget to breathe.
I forget to breathe. I forget that I didn't chew this all the way. So I'm just huge chunks of food that I'm trying to muscle down, and I can't do it. And then all of a sudden it's it's either going to be a burp or puke, or I could just take a big swig of something and just try to muscle that back down to the stomach. So I definitely get it.
Yeah. It's worth mentioning. This is probably the most actual eating that's been done on the podcast. I might be kind enough to like mention in the beginning, ASMR warning. But also, I kind of love fucking with those people too.
Oh, absolutely.
So I probably won't. They'll have shut it off by now.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, no, this is the first one because again, I always cook for my guests, and you were my first true Italian on here, so I had to kind of go all out and do the whole meal. For time constraints, it's all on one plate because otherwise, you bring it out in stages and all that.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't have pasta and your meat on the same plate.
No.
Yeah, Pete. By the way, chicken parmesan is not Italian.
No, it's not. No, I will fight everybody till the day I die about that. No, it's not. It's not a thing.
Yeah, just chicken with pasta in general isn't a thing. And again, if you have chicken and pasta in the same meal, you do it on different plates at different times.
Yeah, we probably the last family vacation that my parents and my sisters took to Florida. Oh, excuse me. We found this little like mom and pop Italian restaurant down in Orlando, and we were like, all right, well, we're on vacation, but we're spending how much money at fucking Disney and shit. So we went in here and we sit down, and I'm just you normal when you go to a restaurant, you sit down, you wait for somebody to come up, drop menus. What can I get you to drink? Blah blah blah. Not how it works. This was authentic. They only played Italian music. Mm-hmm. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. And the waiter walks up with just a pitcher of water, 5 glasses, and then a bottle of wine and glasses. Mm-hmm. We're like, okay. I mean, we're on vacation. Let's do it up. Whatever. Wine. Hell yeah. I don't know how expensive this is if they're leaving the fucking bottle here. We didn't ask for the bottle. We're a mess right now with bodily functions.
Oh, yeah.
But then they bring out this big family portion of salad. Then they just set that bowl in the middle of the table, and then little bowls for us to eat. Then they come back later. They take that. Then they come back again with pasta. We eat that. They just kept bringing fucking food to us. Mm-hmm. And at one point I was like, Dad, do we ever get to order?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not that I'm not loving this right now because I am a fat kid at heart.
Yeah.
But like, we didn't order any of this. What's the price tag going to be on this fucking meal?
Right.
I mean, it was like $100 meal for the 5 of us, which isn't terrible.
Right.
But still, we were not prepared for the amount of food that they just kept bringing food. Mm-hmm. Basically, until we were like, we're good. Like, we're all full. Mm-hmm. And my sisters tapped out way early into the meal. Like, after the pasta, they're like, oh, we're full. I was like, you guys are about to see something really special here. If you think you're full, watch this.
Right.
And like, it got to the point my dad had to stop me from eating. Like, that, I'm in a bottomless pit.
Yeah. It's like she was tapping out and they hadn't even brought out the ossobuco yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually, speaking of the Italian onslaught of food, because that's a good way of describing it, like a gauntlet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was re-listening to John Panette for the first time in ages. And like, I loved his story. He was like filming something in France. And the whole time he's asking people, it's like, I'm really craving Italian food. Let's get Italian food. And after like 2 weeks, somebody finally says, oh yeah, Italy's only like a 4 or 5 hour drive from here.
I think he was actually closer than that. I think I watched that like the other day, and I think he was like, it's like a 45-minute drive. Like, are you kidding me? Like, get the fuck out of here. We're going.
Yeah. But yeah, the you don't even get a say. You eat what they want you to eat, basically.
And I had an uncle who owned a little pizza shop in my hometown in Fallsby, West Virginia. And nobody's going to know where that is, but yeah, Little Italy, as I like to call it. But he had this little pizza parlor. He made subs and stuff like that. But he just had up on the board, it just said sandwich. You didn't get to pick.
Yeah.
He was making you whatever he fucking felt like that day, and that was the sandwich you were going to eat, and you weren't going to bitch about it.
Right. I have a gluten allergy. Well, you can gluten your way out here.
Yeah. You came to an Italian deli, essentially. What do you... This is gluten heaven in here.
Virginia.
In West Virginia, yeah.
I'll say they didn't hear about gluten allergies until like 2013.
Mm-hmm. Just dealt with the diarrhea.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, say lactose intolerance too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you just had to accept that you were going to be cramping and farting all night.
That's it.
That was
deal
life.
with it.
That was
deal
life
with
for
it.
you, yeah.
Yep. It was different, especially me growing up. Growing up in the 90s when I did. It was a much simpler time, and I'm so glad that there was no cameras or social media back then, because I would be arrested and in prison for some of the shit me and my friends used to do.
My dad, he's also from around the Pittsburgh area, but like a small coal mining town and he had told me just one time, he was like, yeah, and like he had told me way in his past, not now, but way in his past, he was the pot, mushroom,
right.
All that stuff. And because 70s in a town with nothing else to do,
Yeah.
But I asked him, I was like, did you ever have me run into law? And he was even just like, no, he was pretty cool with me because we were white,
Yeah. That's the way to get away with it, just being white.
Yeah. It turned out that at the time sheriff, he was actually in the Klan. Like,
oh wow!
So you talk about justice not being blind.
100%.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But Pittsburgh, that's anywhere around there, just the surrounding. I'll give it like a 50-mile radius from Pittsburgh. It's crazy up that way. Like you'll find just some oddball characters up that way, and I love and miss every single one of them.
This is gonna be an editing nightmare because there are gonna be breaks where we're both eating and gonna talk. So I will have to scratch those out. But anyway, first time I ever went to Pittsburgh on my own. Was in college. Went and I picked up two of my friends here in town, and we tried having other plans in town, and then those fell through. And I don't know what possessed us, but we were just like, let's take a road trip. And it was like, I jokingly said, let's go to Pittsburgh. The other two were like, yeah, we've never been. Brilliant idea. I was like, guys, I was kidding.
Not serious at all here.
I was like, it's 10:30 right now.
Yeah.
We'd be getting to Pittsburgh. Or actually, no, I think it was even later. It might have been like closer to midnight because we didn't get to Pittsburgh until like 3:30, 4 in the morning, maybe. And the first thing, so like this was also, I didn't have a smartphone when most people did. So I'm going off of just pure instinct and like remembering the back seat of driving to and from Pittsburgh all the time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it worked until we take the tunnel going into
Fort
the city.
Pitt Tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah. And we get, and I even tell them, I'm like, you guys pay attention when the city just like blasts you in the face. Yep. It's awesome.
Just smacks you right in the face.
Exactly. And they were like, holy shit, this is great. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm even in all of it, seeing it at night with all the lights and everything, until I remembered, oh yeah, for once I'm the one holding the wheel, and I'm coming up on 13 possible exits from this one bridge.
Yep.
Like it just peacocks out, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know which one to. Because there'll be like the 4 or 5 signs, and each one has like 4 or 5 different like street names or destinations or something like that. Fortunately, I got on one that took to Station Square, and we get out, we park in the parking lot, and like the first thing I see, I should also mention, this was like right at the cusp of winter going into spring. Like there was still some snow, but a lot of it had melted by this point.
Right.
There was still this big giant snow pile. The first thing we see is a very clearly homeless man pissing in the snow pile.
Yeah.
And we're walking up towards him, and he looks at us, not even like breaking stream,
No,
race
they
stride.
Don't care.
Just looks at it and is like, better turn around and walk right back. And I was like, oh, he's like a dog marking his turf right now.
Yeah, that's 100% what he was doing. This is my snow pile. I'm sleeping here tonight. This is my igloo.
This is my corner.
Yeah.
And right by the Sheridan Hotel. So we run in there, and the lobby was open, but like, and it's weird. It was like all of the rooms were like on the inside, but there was like the balcony overlooking. It was like the opposite of like the Roach Coach hotels where everything's on the outside.
Yeah.
There's nothing interior. And we go in there and there wasn't anyone at the desk, but then we just see someone shining a flashlight because they were thinking that we were also homeless people squatting.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, do we take our chances with the law or with fucking crazy crackhead out there? And so we got in our car and immediately drove back. That was the whole trip.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, my favorite part of leaving Pittsburgh is when you get on it's the Fort Pitt Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's coming on from the exit from the right needs to get to the left to get out of the city. Everybody from the left needs to get to the right. They're like, hey, make this happen. Here's 20 feet. Figure it the fuck out, asshole. Yep. Like, and that's like, it's just NASCAR evasive maneuvers, just trying to get through there. And if you break for a second, you're going to hear about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I will say it's maybe of all the big cities I've ever been to, Pittsburgh might be my least favorite one to drive in. Because the on-ramps, again, they give you, like, no wind-up.
None.
And, again, just so many lanes everywhere. And if you miss one, it'll take you fucking, like...
15 miles around to go to try it again to figure out which exit you need to take. Yeah, it's a 15-mile detour.
Yeah. Also, then, like, I was there a couple summers ago, once again, by myself. And ironically, I was there location scouting for a comic book that I was writing that I was setting in a fictionalized version of Pittsburgh. So it was like more dark and grimy. Basically what I'm saying is just Pittsburgh.
Just Pittsburgh.
Setting it in Pittsburgh. And I was location scouting for filming, and I'm there in Station Square, bar hopping. It was also Picklesburg that weekend. So all of the bars had like some kind of special pickle thing, whether it was like fried pickles or like a pickle burger or pickle cocktail, something like that.
I would boycott that day. I fucking hate pickles. Oh my God, I hate pickles.
Yeah, so I was drunk on pickles basically. And and the whole time I'm even thinking like, and I'm like striking up conversations with people at the bar, which I normally don't do, having a great old time. And I'm even thinking in my head, like, why am I setting it in Pittsburgh? I don't want people to think it's shittier than they already do. And then again, the next morning, I look and see my car's there. I'm like, thank you, Pittsburgh, for reminding
me why I'm doing this. Yeah. Oh man, I mean, I used to think, and I used to be like you, I hate driving in Pittsburgh. I fucking hate it. And then I moved this close to Columbus, and I rather drive in Pittsburgh every fucking day than drive around Columbus. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm still so new to the area that I don't know Columbus as well as I know Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Or if I'm just becoming that old crotchety man where I'm set in my ways and like, this isn't like where I came from. Fuck this place. Or I don't know what it is.
I'll give you that. Campus area is so insane with having nothing but one-way streets.
Well, that's Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah,
that's all of Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And then shitty parking because the roads are way too narrow. But yet Columbus allows people to park on both sides. So you just have your one narrow tight, and the entire time you're like terrified, especially with your truck. You'd be terrified the whole time of like you'd have to like pull your mirrors in because. I'll give you that for like mostly the campus area. But so you were born in West Virginia though, and then when did you leave the first time?
I actually didn't leave West Virginia until I met my wife, and then we bought our first house in a little town called Wintersville, Ohio. She's from
next to Superbowl,
yeah. She's from the Steubenville, Richmond, Ohio area.
Okay,
and so It was nice because she already had a pre-started family. So my son is actually my stepson, but his dad's not in the picture.
Yeah.
So, and I picked up the payments on that. I was like a rent to own, and I still don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. But no, I love my son. For everybody out there listening, I do.
I'm going to edit out just that part. I'm going to leave it on
okay.
I don't know if I'm going to keep him.
Yeah. I've actually said that joke on stage and people loved it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, you know, I it was when like me and my wife first got together. So like she'd known me because we'd worked together before. So she knew who I was and that I was a comedian and stuff like that. But once we started living together and she started coming to shows and driving me to shows and being there all the time. And then I was like, I don't know how this is going to go because I normally run the jokes by her on the way there to see. Because if she laughs, because she has a very particular sense of humor. If she laughs, I'm like, okay, that's a good joke. If she looks at me and goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, that's a closer. That's what that is.
Right.
And I didn't run this one by her. And I get up on stage, and, you know, I'm talking about my son. And I was like, yeah, he's actually my stepson. And, you know, I picked up the payments. It's more of like a lease, a rent to own type of deal. And yeah, I think I'm going to give this one back. And the place started dying, but I could feel heat from her eyes just staring at me. And I get off stage and she looked at me and was like, you know, that was a joke, right? She was like, I know. You run everything by me. Why didn't you run that one by me? I was like, honestly, I don't know. But, yeah.
So then you were debating on sending her back.
Yeah. But yeah, so I moved to Wintersville, Ohio with her. And then due to being the nature of being a stand-up comedian, you struggle early on in the beginning of it. And, you know, day jobs were few and far between for me because not a lot of them were willing to work with the comedy schedule and trying to find gigs and stuff like that. So I was out of work a lot. So we ended up actually losing the house. And her sister lives in Zanesville, Ohio, which is where we're at now. And she was moving. She's like, hey, we don't have the time to sell this house. Why don't you come down here and rent off of us? And that way you're not homeless. Yeah. I was like, well, it does sound a little bit better than being homeless. So lo and behold, we moved to Zanesville, and now we live in Philo, Ohio.
Nice. So that's worked out good that you're not having to piss in snow piles. So.
Yeah. Because if not, we were going to Pittsburgh with that guy. Like, hey, man, you take that corner, we'll take this corner. We'll kind of watch each other's back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But so how did you meet your wife?
We actually worked together at AT&T for the longest time, and I didn't realize it because she was still married to her ex when she started there. And obviously there was an attraction and we were flirtatious with each other while we were there, but I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
I was a cocky fucking 26-year-old kid. Like, oh fuck, this chick's fucking into me. Yeah. I'm pulling married women. Fuck yeah, guys. You know, and I make the joke and she fucking hates this joke. That I played the long game with her and that I liked her, but I had never pursued a married woman before in my life. So I was like, yeah, maybe she's just being nice. But she actually made the schedule at work, and me and her worked every fucking Sunday together by ourselves in a store that never had any business on Sundays. So lo and behold, she gets a divorce, and because of me, not because she liked me, but we had started picking up because she had left AT&T and went to like Sprint or something like that.
Ooh, the competitor.
Yeah. And I had actually taken a manager's job at the St. Clairsville location at work. And she had texted me because she knew she could talk to me because we worked together for like 3 years. And we always talked to each other on Sunday. So we grew that relationship there.
Right.
and her family was going through some hard times. Her parents were going through a divorce, so she couldn't turn to her husband because he's such a prick. So she turned to me and she was like, I've been thinking about coming back to AT&T. I was like, at first I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, you seem to be doing much better at Sprint than we are here. She's like, yeah, but I'd only come back to work for you. She came back. She worked in my store. Word got around that we had started a relationship. And yeah, lo and behold, I got fired from that job and we got married. So it worked out in the end. But I tell her all the time because this was like,
it's a nice business ethics chess game you were playing.
Yeah, it was. And this was over the span of like 3 years. We were doing this little song and dance with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I tell her all the time, like, I played the long game. She's like, really? She goes, because we would close down early when we worked together in Steubenville. And I was throwing out all types of hints, and you didn't pick up on one of them. You just sat there and like stared at your phone in the back. I was like, again, I played the long game. I believe it worked out to perfection. Mm-hmm. If I do say so myself, we're married. You're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
No.
I won,
Had you acted when she wanted you to, maybe it wouldn't have ended where you are now.
Exactly.
Maybe you would have burned out too quick. You would have said something stupid.
Oh, there's no doubt I'm saying something stupid. Yeah.
When you weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
in the long game of life.
Yeah.
But that's good. And how many years ago So how long have you been married now?
We say 9 years because that's how long we've been together.
Okay.
We were engaged for a while, and then we couldn't afford the wedding because I was a struggling comic and in and out of work, and so we've been legally married. It'll be 3 years in July.
Okay.
But we've been together for 9 years.
My mom had told me at one point in time she was engaged to her first husband after knowing him for like couple. Well, all right, they went to school together, right? So maybe they knew each other for a longer time, but they were engaged after like 6 to 8 months of dating, which I'm pretty cautious, like plan things out kind of person anyway. So doing something spontaneous like that just sounds so insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's awesome. It works out. And again, shout out to being a stepdad though too, because like that's my dad. So her first husband died when I was 18 months. So like I didn't know the guy.
Right.
So even though my dad is my stepdad, it's one of those. It's weird to think of him in any other way.
It's come full circle because it wasn't till I think actually 3 years ago, once my wife and I were legally married, is when my stepson actually started calling me dad. Mm. And we've been around him for 9 years now, but it's just, and the funny thing is he called me Uncle Mike. Mm. So it looked really weird out in public when I'm like walking and I'm holding both of their hands, like walking in the store, and he's going, Uncle Mike, and my wife's going, oh, so babe, what do you think we're going to get? So it just looked really weird. I'm from West Virginia, so there's an obvious joke there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like it was just to the point where I kept being like, you can call me dad, right? Like I'm here, I'm taking care of you. You haven't seen your sperm donor, and I can't tell you how long. And he even calls him his bio. He doesn't call him dad. Mm-hmm. It's his bio is what he calls him. And yeah, we've developed a pretty close relationship, me and him.
Good. Yeah, it's good that now both people in your house are calling you daddy now.
Yes, 100%.
Not just the wife.
Yeah.
But anyway, so actually I want to circle back something I should have said earlier in the podcast. First off, this is Mike Bono, everybody. Usually I get that out of the way early, but for those of you,
food and talking. We just got rolling. Yeah.
So also great comic as well. Been doing it now 12 years. 13?
It'll be 12 years in November of this year.
Okay. And also the host of the Ride Home Rants.
Yeah.
But I'm fucking losing it here, man. I need to check into the Wacko Basket because also my show February 24th. I messaged all the comics. Fortunately, I put it right on Eventbrite, but like I told all the comics that it's at a place called Merkai Gallery, Merkai, and then I looked at the original booking text, and it's Marika or Meraki.
Okay.
So I switched the A and the K.
I get it.
Because then I was even gonna like try and like name the show based off of like some joke of like Merc and Nurk.
Like,
work that out. And again, that got I noticed. I was like, oh wait, this isn't right spelling.
See, I wouldn't have noticed it. I was diagnosed with dyslexia at a very young age, I wouldn't even have noticed that.
Well, fortunately, RAR worked either way then.
Yeah.
But so yes, host of the podcast. So what got you started in the podcast game?
Spite.
Spite.
Spite. 100% spite.
Spite is the greatest motivator for just about anything.
Yeah.
Honestly. Spite is why I still do stand up. Yeah. Just despite the few haters and doubters I have.
Oh yeah. I got way more haters and doubters than anybody, but yeah. Started it during the pandemic, December of 2020. It took me a while to actually pull the trigger and upload my first episode and all that. But flash back to January and February of 2020. I'd actually been talking with a big agent and promoter. Like the dream was coming true. I was going to do stand-up comedy full time. They were about to sign me. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, the world shuts down in March of 2020. And I was supposed to, in March, fly down to Atlanta to sign the paperwork to become the newest client to that record label. And I don't say the name of it on any show or anything like that because I don't want to perpetuate the hate that is in the comedy game and everything like that. But so I text the wannabe agent, and I was like, "Hey man, I understand, like, everything's shut down, but you could like email me this shit. I'll print it out, sign it, and then I'll send it back to you." Like that's a thing. It's 2020. I feel like that's a good compromise.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, unfortunately, you don't have an online presence, so we're gonna pass." And it just brought my comedy career like back to stage one.
Yeah.
And that was like what, 8 years in to comedy. Like, oh fuck yes, the dream's coming true. I can tell everyone, go fuck yourselves. I told you I'd fucking do it.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, like, all right, online presence. I mean, I'm on social media all the time. Like, I have a decent following. I don't have like the Joe Rogans and Bert Kreischer followings and shit that, but I have a decent following. To say I don't have an online presence at all was bullshit. So I just started driving home from my day job selling RVs at the time and just bitching about my day and uploading it to YouTube. And one of my buddies like, dude, this would be a fantastic podcast. Mm-hmm. So lo and behold, I turned it into a podcast, and I brought on a buddy of mine that helps run it with me. He manages it. He helps get all the guests and everything like that now come on. But yeah, and I still have that agent's number. And I really want to send him the stats to it because I know I told you earlier, but the show is now heard in 50 different countries in over 1,400 cities.
Yeah.
And I want to be like, not an online presence. Why don't you go fuck yourself, asshole? Yeah. You want to sign me now? That price tag just went up.
Yeah. I much like another famous Bono, famously got passed on like for a first record deal too.
Yeah.
And they said, you sound just too generic, not what we're looking for right now.
Right.
And then again, him and his tinted shades are just, fuck all you.
Yeah, and I can't stand Bono.
Oh, I can't either.
I hate the fucking band U2.
Yeah.
just my actual last name is so goddamn long because it's Italian. It would have been a family nickname of mine, Bono. So that's why I go by Mike Bono.
Yeah. And 2020, I had a somewhat similar, not as big as yours, but I had just started producing shows here in town in Newark, because before that we had nothing. I started doing shows at a venue I won't name, even though they've since legally changed their name.
Okay.
But a place that won't be named for, is it slander or libel?
If you're saying it out loud, it's slander.
In print, it's libel. Yeah, J. Jonah Jameson. That's right. So yeah. Anyway, so this venue, I was like starting to run book shows. I had produced my first like big book show. It went great, and then the owner had like said like, "Hey, I'm gonna have you. If a comics ask about the place, I'll defer them to you. I'll just have you book any and all comedy shows. Granted, we're not trying to be a comedy club, but we want to have one here and there to spice it up." And I was like, perfect. Yeah, that works. I'm a dude. So things were looking up. And this place is a 350 person theater.
Nice.
Yeah. So again, for someone only a couple years in to land on that fucking chestnut was awesome for me. I'm like, this is where I can really hone my craft, give myself great quality stage time with an audience that wants to be there, not bars where you're having to yell, "Hey, shut up, I'm trying to tell my jokes here." Right? Yeah. And then COVID happened. Yeah. And then I had by that point, 2 new owners had bought into the place as well that had a restaurant next door. Once again, they will remain nameless too, but that business had another location that did comedy shows, and they brought their comedy guy, even though I had already been offered the position.
That was your shit.
And I had spoken with her of the 2 newbies, and I told her, I'm like, "Hey, we're starting to slowly open things back up again. I have a great idea. Let's do comedy shows. There's plenty of room to socially distance. We will cap it at 60 people. That we can do that with social distancing once a month, just to start getting people back in, to get people back in the habit of seeing live entertainment." And she was, again, kind of like, I don't know exactly what the word is, but like very non-committal, and like kind of brushed it off a little bit. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but not saying yes. And then 2 weeks later, I get the message from one of my friends saying, "Hey, congrats on getting comedy back at the place."
Yeah.
At the place. And I said, "Oh, did I?" Because I would have probably gotten an official, "All right, hey, let's go. Let's do this." And I looked, and they made their own Facebook page called the Newark Comedy Club. And everyone was invited except me. I mean, I'm talking bar regulars. I'm talking every Columbus comic, including ones that had for sure moved away. Everyone but me.
Yeah, I've heard of the Newark Comedy Club.
Yeah.
And I've emailed them and messaged them several times, called them.
Yeah.
They won't answer my calls.
Mm-hmm.
They've never answered an email or a message from me and will not book me. And I don't know why.
Hey, me neither.
So we have something in common. Is what I'm getting at here. Like, I don't know what. But
even before that whole secret coup, basically, the guy in question, he ran a workshop here in downtown Newark, even, and like he even said like, "Hey, you should see about like going out, like getting open mics at places. Let's build a scene." And he'd run the workshop. He'd try and mentor us the best he could. And then, I remember the moment I told him, I'm like, "Hey, I finally got in at blank, 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 blank." And again, I could tell right away he didn't appreciate that I had the better room.
Right.
So this was all a big ploy of his. And then I go in like later that week, because at the time the place was only open Thursday through Saturday, and I found this out on a Monday. So I had 4 days to just stew on this fucking shit. And I go in Thursday, and like one of the 2 owners, he sees me, and already he knows, oh shit, he's he's here. He's here on a warpath. I blaze right up to him, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, we meant to talk to you about this." I was like, "Are you okay with this?" I'm like, "Fuck, no, I'm not okay with this."
What do you mean? Am I okay with this? Like, that's the dumbest fucking question.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he knew he was had right from the get go. So I let him have it and give him a piece of my mind, and I told him, I'm like, I want this guy to, I want to sit down with him, and like I want him to tell me to my face why he thought it was okay to blatantly steal someone's room, someone that he once claimed to mentor.
Right.
And then weeks went by, nothing.
Yeah.
I get an invite for all right. The one hint I will have to say, because it's important to this part of the story, the business in question next door to this place is a barbecue restaurant.
Okay.
So I get an invite from the bar manager of the place. It was her grad party, and she's like, "Hey, I know you are very pissed right now at the whole situation."
Shocker.
And he's like, or she's like, "But it would mean the world to me if you can come to my grad party." And I was like, "All right, for you, yes.
Okay, yeah.
I'll come in on peaceful terms." Until I messaged the one owner, and I said, "Hey, it's been weeks, haven't heard from so and so." And I went on Facebook and I saw that this guy had blocked me entirely.
Yeah.
So that was my big final straw. So for the grad party, I'd seen that it was in the barbecue restaurant, but that since it was Sunday, they couldn't legally serve their own food because they were closed that day. So it was a potluck.
Okay.
So I did Gandhi proud, and I went and I bought $80 worth of City Barbecue. And I walked in there and I dropped it right in the middle of the whole spread. The daughter of the one owner, like, she sees it and she just gives me that look of, "Oh, she's gonna hate this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, Tell her
it was me.
Tell her it was me. I'm standing right. I was like, I'm not moving from the spot. I want her to see it was me.
I'd have went a step further and actually served it to people. I'd have been like, "Oh, you want some barbecue? Here you go."
Yeah.
Like, and it just started putting it on people's plates. I'd have went, spiteful.
Yeah. So that's my story. So I had again a golden opportunity,
right?
Robbed from me, not only just from COVID, but then also from two cons. But
everybody keeps, and I don't know what it is. Zanesville has the potential to have a hell of a good comedy scene, and they won't. Like, no rooms will, or even bars will book.
Yeah,
and stand-up comedy. Like, I don't mind. I'll say it. It's the Barn in Zanesville.
Yep.
I physically went in and talked to the owner, and he's like, "Oh, well, unfortunately, because of COVID, we're not doing shows." And this was like early 2021.
It's Zanesville. So they didn't think COVID was real anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You know what, man? I understand that, but when it opens up, like, everything's fine, and we realize, hey, COVID actually was a hoax and it's bullshit. What? Let's put a comedy night together, and it doesn't have to be. We'll do once a month. I don't need to be every week.
Yep.
Give me once a month.
Yep.
To do a comedy show here, and not your open mic where any slap Dick and Harry can come up and just be like, "Hey, what's up, pizza?" Right. That fucking asshole. But I'll actually get comics to come here, to your place and blow Zanesville up.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, still, we'll see." Okay, so. Like 3 days later, I'm driving by the barn and I see up on the marquee, "Such and such band is performing Friday night." I was like, "You piece of shit. Yeah. Like, go fuck yourself."
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, around these parts, music will always have the priority.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, the barn specifically, I think I emailed them one time. And I meant to even pop in and speak in person.
Right.
Glad to hear it would have probably gotten me just as far. But
you're right.
I did an open mic at Weasel Boy one time.
Yeah.
And it was like my first year. I didn't admittedly have a lot. So when they were like, "Yeah, it's like 20-minute spots," I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." Well, we'll see if I have 20 minutes of rambling. But obviously I was the only comic. Like, that's even given. Everyone else was doing karaoke.
Yeah.
Like they weren't even playing like their own acoustic guitars or anything. Like they were just doing 20 minutes of karaoke. And so I get up there with my jokes and everything. And obviously I do not do well.
Clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have jokes that require more than a GED, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the highest.
I was dating a girl this summer from Zanesville, and we went to I think we went to Muddy Misers.
Yeah.
And because I've never actually been, so we would go there, and then we go to Y Bridge.
Yeah.
And walk in, and the place is packed.
Oh yeah, it's always packed.
It is packed, and the first thing I hear is a Matt Bronger joke being done by some guy. Like I look, and it's stand up, and I know the joke. Like I listen to a lot of Matt Bronger stuff, and again, no one else in Zanesville is going to listen to Matt Bronger. It's like, kind of genius because he's kind of like he's a Portland like kind of sort of alt comic a little bit.
Yeah, he has what's the word? He's very nitpicked to his fan base. Like it's particular. Like you either like him or you hate him. Right. There's no gray area with him.
Right. But yeah, I hear the joke and I was like, two things was first like, oh yeah, genius joke that no one else is going to know it's not your joke. But the second thing is I look at her, I'm like, are you punking me right now? It's like, you just happen to just casually take me to the one and only stand-up comedy show I've ever heard of in Zanesville.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about it, and I lived in Zanesville.
Yeah, it was some benefit thing, I think, for like the animal shelter or something like that.
Okay, I actually got really pissed because there's one place I've been wanting to do it at, and it's Eagle Sticks in South Zanesville.
Yeah,
and
my ancestral crib.
They were like, "Yeah, like we'll let you know when we do it." And then the other day, I'm just scrolling through Facebook, and I see that a comedian that I know, and we've been communicating with each other, just did a show at fucking Eagle Sticks, which is 7 miles away from my house.
Right.
Like, are you shitting me right now?
Yeah.
Like, you're not even going to, like, shoot a quick Facebook message? You don't even need a text.
Yeah.
Just, hey, want to pop on for, like, a 5-minute bucket set? Oh, fuck yeah, let's do it. Right. Like, it's comedy in Zanesville.
Yeah. There was a show this summer even. Like around like July 4th or whatever. Yeah. And this was again, I started dating my girlfriend right after that. But I saw it and everything, and I was like, hey, these guys know they could literally pick me up on my way from Columbus to Zanesville. So it was just it was one of those like they know where I'm at. They know I'm the king of Newark.
King of Newark.
Yeah. Newark has no idea I'm the king of Newark.
Oh, yeah.
But according to Columbus, I'm the king of Newark. So
there you go. Roll with it.
It's literally the only good nickname I've ever had. So, yes, I am rolling with it.
It's kind of how I got the Angry White Comic label attached to me because, I go on these long-failed rants, but the buddy that I did the show for, and he was just like, man, you're just like the Angry White Comic. And for almost 12 fucking years, that has stuck since that first show is that I'm just the Angry White Comic.
Yeah. So my bit in my special about me being bullied for Big Dick Richardson. Here's the thing, believe it or not, there's actually some truth to it that I was called Big Dick Richardson in high school, but it was very clearly ironic. I mean, I do stand-up comedy. Everyone should know it's average at best. At best, like if it was big, I wouldn't be doing this shit.
No.
But yeah, people, obviously are like, yeah, it's yeah, sure they called you that. I'm like, no, they called me that. Like, that's a nickname. You can call me that too.
You can call me that too.
But no, the King of Newark one, that one actually is like, I've gone recently to like open mics in Columbus, and like someone like it's like, hey, there's this or someone comes up to me and they'll introduce and it's like, hey, this guy's new to this scene, and then they'll look at me and they'll be like, oh, are you the King of Newark? And I'm like, yeah, goddamn right I am. Yeah.
Goddamn right I fucking am.
Yeah. And then they're even like, what's your real name? I was like, my real name is King, middle name of, last name Newark. That's all you need to know.
I go by my full name, first, middle, last thing.
Right. But no. Actually, I haven't been paying attention to time here recently, but Doing all right. So lastly, so where you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Hopefully, I hate to use the word hopefully because I'm normally a very positive person. Like this will happen.
Mhm.
I try to will and manifest that stuff into the world. But I hope that in 5 years I am a full-time headlining national comedian
Right.
with a Netflix special.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll say Netflix there. I looked into how to get it done, but like if especially if you're doing something like self-produced, self-financed, and all that. I mean, they have pretty strict criteria, but like it can be done. I didn't do it for this one. Actually, fuck my next one. I'll just be happy if I get it on Tubi. But no, yeah, no, that and the fact that you were already there, so like I feel it's achievable for you though.
Yeah,
If you were already on the cusp once.
Yeah, and I've set a goal for myself for this year to just be a full-time professional comedian.
Mm-hmm.
It don't have to be a national headliner, but being able to do comedy full-time and not have to work a day job and be able to travel around and support my family. That's the goal for the end of the year.
Right.
If I can say to my job, hey, thank you. This has been fun. I loved what I'm doing, but I told you from when you hired me on, this was the dream to be a comic, and that's coming true. So,
right.
See ya.
Yeah. Someday down the line, I hope to be there too. It won't be for at least another 5 years, probably though. So I'm only February will be my
we're in February.
The 24th. The 24th is my 6-year anniversary. So yeah, like I said, I got about another 5 years.
I would say, yeah, that's kind of like when you hit that 10-year mark, though. Really,
right,
is when it's like, all right, time to shit or get off the pot. You know what I mean? You got to either run full steam towards it or just be like, I'm just gonna be the open mic guy and just go and do it open mics.
Yeah. I recently had my first ever private gig, and I'm not gonna lie, I texted another buddy of mine, Mark Faison. I don't know if you know him.
I know the name. I don't know yet.
Yeah, because he almost only does private gigs now, and I texted him. I'm like, dude, I get it.
Yeah,
because they paid me like triple what I quoted. They fed me prime rib for free.
Those private corporate gigs are the way to go. And like you could work 4 days a year, and be set, for the year. Like that's how much they pay, So
like, seriously, actually, like if I had literally every Saturday, I had that same setup, same pay, same everything. Yeah, it would pay my mortgage and my car at least.
Right.
So like almost all the way. And I lucked out too because again, it's the first time I've done 45 minutes in a long time.
Yeah.
Because typically I'm doing 20 at most when I host or whatever. So I was booked for 45 minutes, and then it was for a retirement party for truckers. So I knew damn well, I'm like, hey, this is one corporate gig that I don't have to be squeaky clean for.
Right.
Like I can be a little filthy.
That's the problem with me in corporate gigs is like they hear one joke and they're like, can't fucking say that. Like you said fuck like 6 times in one sentence.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even realize I'm saying it, but I can clean it up. That's why like on my website, like I have like pricing, like if somebody does want to book me, like I have it broke down, and like somebody messaged me and was like, why is your corporate pay like triple what your normal gigs are? I was like, because I'm not a clean comic, and for corporate gigs I will clean my act up.
Right.
It's a lot of fucking work for me, so I require more.
I'll wear a dress shirt. I might even iron it,
Yeah, I will slacks, dress shirt. I will be prim and proper. I will trim the fucking beard, not off, but I will trim it.
Yeah.
And it will be neat and clean. And I'll give him a shameless plug because I know, but thank you, Buddy's Beard Care, because this is fucking phenomenal.
I was going to ask you if you reached out to him.
Oh yeah, he actually he sent me some trial stuff and a bunch of that. and I promoted him on Ride Home Rants for a little while. But like, I love the stuff. I never thought I'd be a beard oil or a beard balm guy or anything like that. But yeah.
Also a proud customer here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's phenomenal stuff. I mean, and he's right here in Newark.
Yeah. I'd say my beard only just recent, like within the last like week or two, finally got long enough to justify using it now.
The beard balm and stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, and he was actually on the podcast last. I'll be sure to plug him at the beginning too. But the private gig life is pretty cool. I definitely price higher for clean because I'll say this, I'm to pat myself on the back. Even though I was allowed to be PG-13 to R, I still never said fuck once. I think I said 4 shits. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I did.
And 3 of those were in one joke.
Yeah. I did a PG-13 show at Mount Gilead, Ohio, at the Capitol Theater. And, it was a lot of work, but I never said fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I threw out a lot of shits. And at first they were like, no cussing. I was like, but it's PG-13. Typically they allow you one fuck in a PG-13 at the most.
Right.
And I was just the feature act. I wasn't even the headliner.
Mm-hmm.
And it was to the point where like they were like, he's killing it. Like, just let him go. Like the kid, there's nobody here really under like 15 years old. So if they haven't heard the word shit in their lifetime, like they're sheltered.
Yeah. Actually, all right. One last thing to go out on here. So this will air 2 days after the Super Bowl. So let's see if the predictions hold up true. How much do you think the Chiefs are going to win by? Because there's no way the Chiefs are going to lose.
I actually today released my panel of guests on my show for my Super Bowl preview show for the Ride Home Rants. So we do it. It's our second year doing it. And I actually picked the Niners to win in a shootout. Well, goddamn right I won. I'm a struggling comic, Destin. But no, I actually
49-7.
No. It was I think I predicted like 30-27. Like in a last minute drive field goal, Brock Purdy brings them into field goal range. But no, I mean, as everyone says, the NFL scripted, and I'm leaning more towards that. I hate to say it. Because I always fought that tooth and nail. Like, it's no fucking scripted, it's football. How do you script football? Fuck it. It's starting to make sense.
You can script baseball.
Yeah. And so, but I'm leaning towards that. And I think if the Chiefs win, and I have to see Taylor Swift's fucking face all over the post-game Super Bowl, I'm going to lose my shit.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be the fucking Time magazine cover.
Because I know what's going to happen. Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah.
Instead of Travis Kelce, go to Disneyland, he's going to turn and fucking propose to fucking Taylor Swift.
Yep. And 100%.
Because I some guy did it. I just saw it on TikTok the other day. And there seems to be a coincidence with the number 13 in this Super Bowl. Her album was named 13. She's in, I think, Tokyo right now. It's a 13-hour flight to Vegas to make it to the thing. The 49ers, 4 plus... I think it was like 4 plus 9 is 13. I don't know. Everything's adding up to 13. And I was just like, shut your fucking mouth. Like, I hate to think that it's scripted now because that's really making it hard to be like, nah, it's not scripted. Yeah. Like, so yeah.
Admittedly, that's a pretty all roads lead to Denver airport kind of way of going about it. But no, I'll say this. When the Chiefs win, I do believe every diehard NFL fan that is surprised by it, that actually genuinely thought the 49ers would win. I think every single one of those people owe us professional wrestling fans a huge apology.
I've recently got back into professional wrestling.
My nephew got me back into it too.
And it's not even because of my son. Like right now I sell sheds for the Amish, and it's winter, so he's fucking coming looking for a shed. So after I make my 6 calls I have to make a day, like I sit there and I scroll on TikTok and I see it and I find myself, at first I scroll by it, but now I'm getting into the fucking storyline. So like,
Same. I really enjoy the storylines.
I know it's fake.
Yeah,
I've noticed fake.
Yeah, no, we've known that forever.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But it's starting to get entertaining to me again, and I don't know why.
Well, I mean, the wording is it's not fake, it's scripted.
It's scripted. Yeah, it's planned.
Because I mean, they're taking some real bumps in there.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like any high flying move, there's no way that doesn't hurt. Anytime you get, even though they have like their weapons, they've safened them up a little bit, but you're still taking a chair shot to the back, or you're still, going through a table or something like that.
I have a buddy who's an amateur wrestler, and he's told me, he was like, yeah, I mean, it's scripted what's going to happen at the end, but the moves in the middle, like we can ad-lib that. But if you're coming off the fucking top ropes and landing on somebody, fucking hurts.
And it hurts both people.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
so it's like, I get it.
Like a frog splash, you're hurt. You're landing on your knees. Good chance you land wrong on your wrist or something like that. Like, it hurts both people, that one.
Right. So it's like, I mean, we all knew it was fake. I don't even say fake again. It's scripted, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I went to an amateur wrestling match last year around here, and like the main event of it was a table match, and so it's the DJ of at DJ Tammy. She was on the podcast. DJ Tammy, her brother, and then a couple other people we karaoke with. So we're all in a row, and the moment they bring that table out, I look at her brother, and we both like in unison are like, that table's not gonna break.
It's no way.
Big thick boy table, and it had like the metal like lats underneath of it.
Oh yeah, it's not breaking.
Oh fuck no! Like, because typically, I also have a cousin that he went through the Tough Enough Academy. He didn't make it. He wasn't tough enough. So they do like kind of score the table underneath just a little bit.
And they get rid of those metal braces underneath.
Braces, yeah. So yeah, I saw none of those two things were done. So I'm like, that table's not breaking. And the both of them are up on the top turnbuckle, and one's going for a choke slam. And you watch it. I mean, he choke slams him to the table, and he lands like his middle and lower back is the only thing that hits the table. And like you watch him accordion himself and then take the full brunt of that table because it didn't break underneath to give way. You watch it and like you just know that guy got fucked.
Oh yeah.
As soon as the match, and the worst part is because it's scripted, because it's planned that this guy has to go through this table for the match to be over. They had to do the thing again.
Oh, fuck you.
So they pick him up. The guy picks him up and just sets him right back on the top turnbuckle to do it again. Thank God the second time, it still wasn't a clean break. Like, it only broke on like the side that he hit. So like it still was attached on the right side of the table.
Yeah, but it broke enough to end the match at least, because even at that point, like a ref was like, all right, it fell over. Like, this dude's gonna die if we have to do it again.
Yeah. It was like Henry Winkler and Little Nicky. With the third time he gets covered in bees or whatever. He's like, I gotta get sent back to hell. He's like, cover Winkler in bees, and Winkler's just like, oh come on, man.
He is again.
Sorry, Henry. Okay. Wait. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up on that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike Bono, again, thank you for coming out, and stay tuned to Ride Home Rants. Yeah. Ride Home Rants. I'll be appearing shortly. Check out all of his other episodes. So, other than that, any socials you want to plug? Any shows coming up?
I actually have a show. My next show actually is until March 16th in Sanford, Michigan.
Stone Cold Day.
Yeah, 316. Going up to Sanford, Michigan to do some comedy up there. I am just waiting to hear back from some satellites that I will be doing and entering for the World Series of Comedy.
Fuck yeah.
So I didn't really want to say anything because I don't want to like jinx it, but I'm just waiting to hear back from them. It's the second time I've applied to the World Series of Comedy, just to see that dream of a full-time comic come true at the end of the year. Right. But you can find me on my TikTok at Mike Bono _comedian. Everything else is at Mike Bono Comedy.
Solid. Well, thank you again. I'll say, hope you enjoyed the food.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And so thank you again. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. February 16th, check me out every Tuesday. February 24th, check me out at Meraki, since that's how it's pronounced. Meraki or Meraki or whatever. In Newark, Ohio, conveniently right next door to the place I was talking about earlier. That's, again, passive aggressive, big fuck either. So yeah, check it out. And thanks again for listening.